I am quite sure that many of you have heard of the term adrenal fatigue. And I want to explain to you a little bit why that term bugs me. So, for one, adrenal fatigue is not exactly accepted by the medical community. So, that term is not really a real term. Although problems with your adrenals and your stress response are very real. So, a lot of times when we think of adrenal fatigue, we think of people that are suffering from something like chronic fatigue or hormone imbalance, sleep problems, stubborn weight that they cannot lose, cravings. All of these things have to do with problems with your adrenals, and there's a lot of different symptoms, and they can manifest in many different ways, just depending on the person. But they all kind of get lumped together in this adrenal fatigue term. And the issue with that is that your adrenals do not just simply become tired. So they don't just become sleepy and stop working. And that's why people are not always healing from these adrenal issues, is because they simply just think that maybe they need to relax a little bit more and they will get better. Although relaxation is extremely important for healing, it might not be the main way to go about it, and it might be indirectly helping you because resting can decrease inflammation, and inflammation, we know, is such a huge part of disease in general. So what do we want to look at when we're talking about adrenal issues? I call it more adrenal dysfunction. So when we're talking about these adrenal problems, it's normally either too little cortisol is happening in your body or too high cortisol. And I can go even more into that of how the cortisol is really being used in your body. And cortisol is going to give you energy, but it's also a stress hormone. So you do need it to get you up in the morning and get you going and give you energy, but too much of it too long because of stress can cause problems within your body and your metabolism. So we really want to have that right balance and that curve of cortisol production. And where we run into problems with your adrenals and your cortisol, it's really finding out that root answer, right? That root cause of why there are issues. And so it's not just fatigue. It's not just that your adrenals are too tired to do the job and that you just need to rest and things will get better. So it's really looking into where are things happening and what could go wrong. Well, for one, it could be an insufficiency of cortisol production. So for some reason, your adrenals are not producing cortisol. For two, it could be your cortisol production is being blocked from an outside source. So sometimes other things are going wrong in your body that actually blocks your adrenals from producing cortisol. It can also be the inability to produce energy that your adrenals need to produce cortisol. So if you are not making energy, that ATP in your mitochondria, your energy factories, if you're not making enough energy, then your adrenals cannot produce cortisol. And lastly, it could also be something like oxidative stress and even damage, or your adrenals may actually be physically damaged themselves. So there's a lot of different areas that you need to explore where things can be going wrong that you need to correct, because it might actually not even be your adrenals at all. So maybe you need to look at blood sugar regulation. Maybe you need to look at leptin regulation. So you really need to figure out, once again, the root cause. And how do we do this? It's really getting personal with you. You don't want to just guess, does a person have high cortisol, low cortisol? What are their hormones? You cannot just base that off of symptoms, right? You don't want to ever just base off of symptoms, because that's not really going to get you the right answers. So if you feel like you have been spinning in circles, maybe you have been told you have adrenal fatigue, issues in your body, or you just fit some of those symptoms, you can actually test these things, start to identify what's going on so that you can approach your healing the right way and strategic methods that you can get better with. If you have any questions or comments, you can comment below. If you thought this video was helpful, please like and share. And if you would like to contact me more about that test or how I can help you with adrenal dysfunction, you can find me at zenfunctionalwellness.com. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great afternoon.